Hey everyone! So today is Thursday, June 23. It is currently 2:38 and this is the video number 3. I will be going over a few chapters, which includes chapter 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'll get started with our questions since we have a few to go over, and that way I don't exceed the 6 minutes. So to begin with number 1, which is what is critical theory and how do we use critical theory to understand oppressive circumstances in the workplace? From my understanding of critical theory is basically when individuals or an organization have kind of damaged the power structure of an organization by their interest rather than and the structure within the organization that is kind of higher than the actual workers' interests. So it's focused primarily on management more than the actual workers themselves. And how do we understand power? I thought that the best way to understand power is by understanding the Weber's definition that is mentioned in our book on page 114. And it is quoted as a possibility of imposing one's will upon the behavior of other persons. So, in other words, my understanding from that is it's almost like forcing one's belief amongst a group of individuals, regardless if it's right or wrong. You kind of have that authority or that power over them. So, and then those individuals actually go and follow that belief. The third one is hegemony. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And I thought that it is the process in which a group of individuals begin to follow and support one's goals. So it's the process of following somebody in power or someone's goal or belief, and regardless, like I stated before, even if it's right or wrong or it's not even for their best interests, they continue to follow that. In concerted control, I believe that it is based on the kind of the customs and the values that are developed by the group, or basically by which they stand by in order to actually create structure within the organization. Those were my understanding of those concepts, so hopefully I'm correct. Number 2, it was share your thoughts on the Emma Watson video from chapter 6. Well, after watching the video, I thought that Emma Watson's speech was just, impeccable. It was pretty powerful. And although she stated that she was nervous and she didn't show that at all. I think she did very, very well. As far as the actual video itself, I believe that feminism should not be something we look down on. Instead, we should be proud of it. As women, we should be proud of being women, but also promote equality between both sexes. It shouldn't be, or we shouldn't be labeled one as, better than the other. I just think that there should be equality between the two because we both are doing the same thing, or if we take on different roles, I think that we should be acknowledged for all that we do, just like they should be acknowledged for all that they do as men. Moving on to question 3 is read The Workplace Culture of Fear. Unfortunately, that was a link that was not found. There was an error. So also as well as a video for the Netflix, how Netflix changes corporate culture. That was not found. So I emailed the professor, and hopefully you guys were able to see it. But I'll move on to question 5 in the lesson learned case study. And what was the ultimate lesson? How do you see the organizational culture and critical theories intersecting to assist with your understanding of communication in organizations thus far? So after reading that lesson learned case study, I understood that Donna realized the issues in the company and the lack of roles or the lack of leadership within their role within the company. Donna also realized how they were not capable of making a decision together, and so she didn't understand how they were going to continue to become or be a powerful or successful group, and how they were going to represent their company if they were dysfunctional themselves making a decision. Um, so I realized that without communication and clarification, the group will not be able to move past the simple meeting issue that they had, but they need to begin with their individual roles and their and how to improve their role in order for them to work together and for them to work as a team, and then for the organization to function efficiently. Question 6 is, have you ever been in a situation where you did not represent yourself too accurately when applying and interviewing for a job, and explain in detail? Um, as far as I can remember, I can't remember the exact moment, um, but I know that every time that I leave an interview, I I feel that I could have been a little bit more detailed with my response. It's just like, dang it, I should have just said, this. I forgot to add this. I forgot to say that I'm this, or whatever the case may be. Um, Question 7 is, have you ever been hired by an organization and misinterpreted your role in the company? Not that I can recall that has happened to me, at least not yet, so hopefully it won't. Question 8 is, discuss the reasons why applicants may embellish their application materials, and I believe that the applicants may do that, or will make their application seem a little bit more exciting than what it really is because they want to be chosen, or at least the one to actually go through with everything amongst all the other applicants, and therefore they kind of make their applications seem a little bit more interesting than what they really are. Moving on, number 9 is, what perception would a potential employer have of you after viewing the results from Googling or searching my name? And have you ever searched your name? How often do you search your name? And is the information accurate? I have actually haven't Googled my name recently, but when I Googled it now, I don't automatically appear. I have to literally search for my name, so I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't. That's as much as I have for that question. Question 10. What are your thoughts about the recruitment at Bell South? Unfortunately, I didn't find this article either. So, number 11. As you were reading Chapter 8 and reviewing the PowerPoint slides, read the case study, Navigating the Limits of a Smile by Sarah Tracy, in the cases for organizational communication, understanding communication processes. This case is found in the study folder. Students should apply both organizational assimilation processes and structuration theory to this case study, which presents opportunities for a new application of both. So what is one question that you would still feel needs to be addressed in this case? So after reading the Navigating the Limits of the Smile, I realized that Cassie was trying to do her very best by assimilating the culture in which she worked in. When she first got hired on, she tried to fit in right away, especially since she was there were very few Americans on that cruise ship. So she was at a new job, and she was trying to accommodate herself into a new environment. Cassie also received a training manual and other instructions that kind of ensured that Cassie would make sure all the guests on the cruise ship were happy. But I thought that the one question that should be addressed in this case is how Cassie should have reported that sexual harassment she encountered by a client or a guest on the cruise ship. That 60-year-old man who attempted to rub his body all over her. I thought that was a little bit disturbing. And I think that she should have addressed it to her supervisor right away, regardless if it was part of her job to dance with deliberately engaging in strategic ambiguity. And I wrote that maybe a supervisor may use strategic ambiguity in order to protect a subordinate from misinterpreting a concept. So, which allows the subordinate to use their understanding and come to a mutual understanding, and therefore it doesn't create or they misinterpret what they were saying. Therefore, if a subordinate uses strategic ambiguity, it might be to be conscious of what the information they share with their superior. They need to be aware of what they're saying and without saying too much, maybe. Number 13 is, I'll just go straight into the answer. And an example is that I can think of an upward distortion is when it involved my friend when she was denying that she actually stole something after I knew that she did it. She used upward distortion to avoid any blame, but instead it just caused anger between us, and it kind of just causes us to go our different ways, and we no longer speak. So 14, trust. I believe that in general, it's very important when we communicate, and it is also a big role that takes place when superiors communicate with their subordinates, because both individuals are being vulnerable with each other. They're sharing very private information, or maybe they're just kind of being mindful of what they say to one another. So I think being able to trust each other and the relationship that they carry is very important. And last question is the role of intimacy or immediacy in a superior subordinate relationship is very important, because immediacy automatically shows the warmth and intimacy between the two. So this kind of enhances each other's relationships. They will feel like they're more comfortable with each other and able to share certain conversations with one another. So I think that immediacy is very important for the relationship that they should carry. And overall, I kind of went over the questions from the chapters. I hope that I kind of understood everything in the right way. Hopefully, if you guys have any suggestions or clarifications for me, that you guys can help me out. But as far as my questions, those were my responses. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. So thank you for your time again.